It's time to get geared up with GeekWire's weekly tech and gadget show. Here are your hosts, Todd Bishop and Andrew Edwards.
What is going on, everybody? It's time to get geared up here from GeekWire offices in Seattle, Washington. I'm Andrew Edwards. This is not Todd Bishop.
Unless I've grown a lot of hair and my voice has raised quite a lot.
Right, what
I'm
happened?
Not Todd Bishop.
Where is Todd Bishop?
We're not totally sure. Well, I mean, we know. He's
That's
on vacation.
True. No, he's on vacation, but we don't know where he is.
No, he was thinking of going up to Vancouver with his family. He might just be spending time with his family at home.
And that's not far away from here.
No, it's not.
So he may be just a few miles away, not participating in our show today.
He might be watching us right now. Hello,
Thanks
Todd.
a lot, Todd. Hey, Todd, what's up? So who are you, though? Let people know who you are, because you are usually in this room whenever we are recording and streaming Geared Up.
True. I am Claire McGrain. I am an audio producer and a reporter at GeekWire. And normally I'm sitting like over there in the corner being entirely silent.
Right.
And sometimes I let a little giggle escape and you're like, oh, Claire said something.
Right. Well, I'm a funny guy.
You are a funny
guy. So
guy.
you will laugh at things I say, but you try to keep your voice down because it's weird for people on the podcast, especially like, hey, who was that?
Yeah.
Why does Todd have such a high laugh? Right? It'd be weird. But yeah, this is Claire. She makes sure everything goes off in here when we're recording Geared Up without a hitch. We appreciate your help because Todd and I, as much as we like to think that we know what we're doing, we really don't know what we're doing.
Well, you're the talent.
So
you've got
right.
other priorities.
Right, exactly.
I'm making sure all the cables are in order.
We appreciate that. So today on Geared Up, Claire's joining me, and we have a few things to talk about. We have some news out of Apple. Mm-hmm. We have a big Xbox spring game sale that just started today. And we have a discussion of some of our favorite games that we're going to talk about.
I think I'm more of a gamer than Todd, so this part at least should
That's
be
going to be great.
interesting.
Yes. Todd still has the Xbox. Wait, well, actually, I'm not even going to ruin that. Let's go to the first thing that we're talking about today. What is
Alrighty.
it?
Well, quick reminder to subscribe first to the new Geared Up feed,
podcast
wherever
feed.
You get your podcasts,
right.
iTunes, Stitcher, etc.
Mm-hmm. So you can go to Stitcher, you can go to iTunes, you can search for Geared Up and subscribe. Please do. If you want to hear Geared Up when you're in the car or just in audio form, do it that way. If you want to see us in video, youtube.com/GearLive, the best place to do that.
And if you're not a normal podcast listener, listening to podcasts while you clean the house makes it so much better.
Ooh, especially to the voice of me and Todd Bishop.
So motivating.
All right. Do you know what that is?
I looked at it and went, oh, that's the monolith from 2001: A Space Odyssey, right?
Right. So Claire just pulled up a picture of the 2013 Mac Pro. It was the big reveal back then in 2013 when they showed it off was Apple was being accused of not being able to do innovative stuff anymore. And they've actually been getting that. They get that all the time. Like as long as I've been following Apple for maybe the past 12 or 13 years, people are always saying they've lost their innovation, they've lost their way, etc. The Mac Pro, though, came out in 2013. And here we are in early to mid 2017, and the exact same model is still available. They haven't updated it. They haven't upgraded it with new processors, with really new Thunderbolt 3 ports, nothing. And last week, Apple did something pretty unprecedented for them in bringing journalists to their facilities, to their headquarters, and basically having a frank discussion about where the Mac Pro went wrong. Now, you are not a Mac user. Is that correct?
I am not. I grew up in a Microsoft-only household.
Ooh, was that like a hard rule? Like a Microsoft-only household, like just because that's how it was? Or like you have to use Microsoft products only?
Well, my dad worked for Microsoft, so a lot of it was kind of brand loyalty for him.
Okay.
And he started in the age where Microsoft and Apple were not friends.
Right.
So I got my first non-Windows phone 2 years ago, just under 2 years ago.
Okay.
And it was because I finally was like, nope, not listening to my dad anymore. I
Right. You moved out,
need an
though,
Android.
I hope.
Yes. Oh, yes. I was out of the house.
Okay, because he would have disowned you.
Oh, yeah.
Had you brought
absolutely.
an Android phone into that home. That would have been crazy.
So when I wanted an iPod as a kid, I was like, no, I got an MP3 player. And then I had a Zune, which was fun. I liked my Zune.
You know what? No, the Zune actually was a great device. Not the first one. The first one was kind of weird. But the ones that they released after that first one were actually really good. And I thought they were even better than the iPod. But the way that they branded the Zune initially, especially with like the brown Zune, and like it just failed out of the gate, people didn't trust it going forward, and it was a shame because it was a really good device, and the music service, the Zune music service that surrounded it, was amazing. There's never been anything like it since then.
Yeah,
So-
I much preferred it to even just looking at iTunes and kind of perusing. I like
looking
it
at
so
iTunes
better.
is horrible. I get you.
Yeah.
So you don't know.
So-
Okay, so back to the Mac Pro. Apple said the quote was, "We backed ourselves into a thermal corner." And what that means is if you remove this round covering, it's actually a triangle on the inside. There's the PC card on one side, and the two other sides are two graphics cards. And it's designed in such a way that the one fan at the bottom will blow the air equally across all three of these cards to keep it cool. And Apple was betting on what they thought was the fact that having two graphics cards in a machine was where the future was going. So you have these two dedicated graphics cards. And instead where the industry went was having one crazy powerful graphics card. And so what it turned out to be was, with the design they made here, if you put one super powerful graphics card in there, like that side of the machine would be super hot and the other two would like not be super hot, and the fan just wouldn't work. So they have to now remake the Mac Pro that they originally thought was going to be the future of computing, which is a shame. Number one, it's a shame because pro users need the fastest hardware they can get. Software changes and gets updated all the time. And, whatever is top of the line in 2013, that doesn't mean that it can run top of the line software in 2017, right? It could start struggling. You have old stuff. So they're redesigning the Mac Pro, and they also said despite that, it won't be released in 2017. So the new model, at the earliest, is going to arrive in 2018. So
what have they been doing for the past
That's a good
4
question.
years?
I think I think they were in denial. That's what I think. I think it was like, no, we can still try to make this work. And, I think they've been trying to think of how to make it work in the design that they came up with. And at some point, they all started coming to the realization of like, this just isn't going to work, is it? We have to do something new.
Yeah, it's a good example of the butterfly effect of how one very technical decision kind of ripples through and makes a product or breaks it, which is pretty interesting to see.
Right. So new Mac Pro coming next year. That was the first bit of news. And also, the new iMacs are coming later this year, and they did say there will be pro-level models of the iMac for the first time later this year. So we'll see how that turns out. So that's the first bit of news right there. Apple, in a rare move, admitting a mistake they made.
Yes, not something you see every day.
No, not at all.
And the other thing we want to talk about today,
What do we got?
Xbox games.
Oh, man, the Xbox game sale.
Yeah.
If you're an Xbox gamer, if you own an Xbox 360 or an Xbox One, there is a massive spring game sale that kicked off today.
You got some of those games there?
I do. I'm going to pull it up right now. So Xbox does this like maybe 2 or 3 times a year. They'll do these massive sales. They're digital sales. So you're not going into like a Target or a GameStop or a Walmart and seeing all these discounts. They're actually, if you download them from the Xbox store on the console itself. So during the holidays, they'll do it, spring sale, and I think there's one other time of year they do it as well. But you can get some major games such as Battlefield 1, Dishonored 2, Doom, Gears of War 4, Halo 5 Guardians, Halo Wars 2, which is brand new, Overwatch, which is one of the best games of the past like year or two, Recore, Super Cheap, Titanfall 2, Watch Dogs 2. And those are just like a small sampling. Like there's like 100 games or more that are for sale. A lot of them are almost half off. So if you're an Xbox owner, and especially if you have Xbox Live Gold, so if you have an Xbox, you get the sale. But if you're a Gold member, you get an even deeper discount, which is crazy. So like you're more of a PC gamer, I assume. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we'll talk about my consoles later.
We will.
Ben.
But as a PC person, when they have a Steam sale.
For sure, yeah.
So this is like the exact same thing. It's like a Steam sale, but for the Xbox. So it's one of those times where people can go and like load up on a bunch of games, download them, and then if you're like me, like half of them you never even play because you have like you've just grown your library and like you're busy. But it's cool. If you're looking for games to play, if you just got an Xbox or you just want to get like a bunch of cheap games that are really good instead of cheap games that aren't that good, now's the time to do that. Have you been playing any Xbox games lately?
we just inherited an Xbox 360 that came literally with cobwebs on it.
Literally with cobwebs on it?
Literally with cobwebs on it.
So you received this Xbox 360.
In a box full of Xbox 360 games.
Okay, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to clear out the cobwebs before you could get to
yes, we
the
did.
console. And you opened the drive and dust
nothing
flew out.
in the drive, thankfully.
Okay.
Not that old. But no, we inherited an old Xbox 360 from family friends of my boyfriend. And we've been kind of messing around on it. Mostly we've just played Minecraft and went, Minecraft was a game.
This was a thing. Okay.
But no, we only got it a couple weeks ago, and I haven't had a ton of time to mess around with it. There's not a lot of games, and they're mostly games aimed at younger children because these folk had 3 young children.
Okay.
So
you're playing Elmo games and stuff, Big Bird.
Not quite that level. A lot of sports, a lot of FIFA.
FIFA's not a bad game. FIFA is not a bad game.
FIFA 2014.
Right. So it's an old game, but it's not a bad game.
It came with the game that came with the second Harry Potter movie.
Okay.
But it is so slow, it is unplayable, which is unfortunate.
Wow. Slow as in the story is slow, or slow as in...
Slow as in
just,
the Xbox can't keep up.
Wow. Okay. All right.
All right, so that's the big news of the week. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some of our favorite games that we've been playing a lot recently.
Yes, we
will. I'm excited to hear from you on this.
Okay.
We'll be right back on the GeekWire podcast.
What's going on, everybody? We are back here on this week's episode of Geared Up from the GeekWire offices in Seattle, Washington. I'm Andrew Edwards with my special guest. Who are you?
Special. I'm Claire McGrain.
Claire McGrain here in the office. And we are about to talk about some of our favorite games right now. I'm talking about video games, but maybe not just video games.
Oh,
games in
not.
general.
Maybe not.
Games are supposed to be fun. They don't have to be video form in order to be fun. I think you agree with that.
Sometimes when they're not in video form, you even look at other people and speak to them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Speaking of which, one of my favorite games right now, actually. So here's a Nintendo Switch right here, right? I was telling you before we started, it's interesting because since the Nintendo Switch was released, or actually since I received it, I got it about 2 weeks early from Nintendo in order to start doing coverage on the Switch. Since receiving the Switch, I've only turned on my Xbox One time, and I've only turned on my PS4 Pro one time, and both of those times were to be able to download that month's free games and then turn it right back off and turn the Switch back on.
So you've been totally sucked in.
Yes, I have. So, but one game, which is not where I've been spending a lot of my time, is 1-2 Switch.
Really?
1-2 Switch allows you to play a game with other people, but the instructions are you have to look at the other person.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it'll tell you, it'll describe to you, here's the game you're going to play. So, for example, it might be you're using the controller as a gun, and when they say fire, you have to lift it and shoot, and whoever shoots first wins a little mini game. But the whole time you're playing, you're staring at them. Or there's another mini game where you have to do a yoga pose, and you have to hold the pose perfectly, and if the more you struggle, basically your energy meter goes away. And so whoever holds the pose better wins. And so again, the whole time you're looking at the person, trying to psych them out, trying to get them to go off balance. So that's one way Nintendo is differentiating themselves from other game manufacturers, is trying to make fun experiences using a game console, but reestablishing that connection between two people.
Yeah.
Interesting.
If I have a couple friends over and we're hanging out, I think I'm more likely to play that than to sit down and play Mario Kart or Super Smash Bros.
Right.
Actually.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's kind of like that. Although those games you just mentioned are fun for groups because you can you don't have to totally be concentrated on that. You can laugh and make fun of what they just did and all that.
Yeah.
But yes, this one has you standing up. So you're standing up, you're looking, you're playing. It's a good party game. Great party game.
Okay.
What did this guy just say? Runway in 1-2 Switch is how you measure how manly you are. I haven't actually played that one. So one of the mini games, I only saw the picture. It says runway, and it looks like you're strutting down a fashion show runway, and you have to compete against other people to see who could walk the best down the runway. I don't know. Haven't played it yet.
I'm envisioning a future episode of Geared Up where
so.
You and Todd play this.
I think yes. Todd and I are going to have to do this. But the other game that I've been spending a ton of time on, obviously, if you have a Switch, you purchased The Legend of Zelda.
I mean,
that's what I would think. It isn't 1-to-1, but the stat I saw was 85% of people who bought a Switch bought Breath of the Wild.
It makes sense, yeah.
And I think I am about 50 hours into this game. Okay, that's number one, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Number two, though, despite being 50 hours in, so there's these 4, they call them divine beasts that you have to beat in order to go to the final boss. Actually, you can go to the final boss whenever you want because it's an open world game. But you beat these 4 divine beasts and it makes it easier. You get more power and stuff. I'm 50 hours in. I've only beaten one of these 4 divine beasts. So like I'm basically 25% complete after 50 hours of playtime. And the game is so nice. Like that's the best word. Like you're playing this game and you're just running around like meadows and forestry and like sunsets and like sometimes it'll rain and mountains and you don't feel rushed to complete it because you're like, I just want to go over here and check out like what's that? And you just go off and like you just check stuff out.
So it's kind of like going camping.
Pretty much.
But on a video game
I
console.
guess. I'm not really the biggest camper in the world. I've probably been camping less than 5 times in my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like it encourages exploration, I guess. Like you can just go and like you could probably beat it in 10 hours if you wanted to or less, just if you just wanted to like power through and just do only the things that you need to do to beat the game.
Yeah.
But there's so much encouragement for exploration, finding, new things. And like you can literally like just lift up a rock and be like, oh, what's this? And like find something essential to the game. So
do you think you're going to get tired of that eventually?
I don't know. So the thing that I found is when I get tired of running around, then I say to myself, you know what? Let me do more of the main quest stuff instead of side quest stuff.
Uh-huh.
So I'll do some more main quest stuff, and then I'll be like, okay, I progress a little bit. But then that takes you to a whole new location, and you're like, okay, let me go look around again. Let me make sure like I'm not missing anything. And there's just so much like different stuff you can wear and weapons and things that you have to like cook your food now.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And when you cook your food, it's not just like, let me just throw this meat in here and cook it. It's like you can mix like an egg and like some meat and I don't know, an onion or whatever. And like, oh, you just made an omelet. Or you like, yeah, it's like, so you have to like create recipes and find recipes and all that. So I'm a big fan. Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, a lot of my time. What about you? Have you played a Zelda game?
I've played Wind Waker because,
That's a great game.
As I mentioned, nothing non-Microsoft in my home growing up.
Not even a Nintendo GameCube?
No, I now own a Nintendo GameCube.
But
I didn't
back then?
own one when I was young. No.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
No.
So your house was all Microsoft. So you were all about the Xbox.
I was all about the Xbox. To the extent that I played video games, I did a lot of reading and not paying attention to people or the outside world.
Okay.
But I did play Wind Waker. I haven't finished it because I got to a point where I wasn't sure what I was doing and totally forgot the plot of the whole game. But I've gotten, as soon as Breath of the Wild came out, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to play some Zelda. So I started playing Wind Waker again, and I really like it. And I'm looking forward to getting a Switch. My boyfriend and I are planning on waiting a little bit until kind of maybe just before the holiday season and getting one then.
Okay.
And I'm preparing myself to not have any time because I'm just playing Zelda because it seems so good.
It's so amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So Wind Waker was a really good game too, though. And there was some crazy backlash back then because... So there was Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, which had this, for the time, very realistic graphics. And so when they showed off the Wind Waker, a lot of people were so upset. There's like, it looks like a cartoon.
Yeah, it does.
Like, and everybody was like, we're supposed to be going towards more realistic graphics. Like Link should look like a real person at this point. Why would you go back in time and make him a cartoon? And, that was back then. But now when people look back, they see that fondly because since it was a drawn cartoon, they were able to do things that you couldn't do with like polygons at the time, which was like if Link is walking by something that you need to pay attention to, he would like kind of look over at it, like his eyes and his eyebrows. And like you couldn't like do all that facial stuff if it was just like a polygon map on the face. So
does Breath of the Wild do that pretty well?
Breath of the Wild does a good combo of the two. So you have the like cartoony drawing-ish look and feel. So Link does look at stuff, but it does look way more realistic than Wind Waker did, especially like the landscapes and stuff. They look pretty great.
Okay, well I'm excited to try that out when I get my hands on a Switch here.
Do it ASAP. What else game-wise?
So as you mentioned, I am a big PC gamer, and I do a lot of indie gaming more than kind of like I haven't played Overwatch, although it seems really cool, and I would like to. And the game that I've been playing just a crazy amount of for the past few months is Stardew Valley. Have you played this one?
Stardew Valley. What is this game? I've been hearing everybody talking about this game, Stardew Valley. I've heard about it from PC gamers, from Xbox, from PlayStation. I have never played this game, nor have I even seen this game. But it's not because I didn't want to or have been avoiding it. It's just, again, Legend of Zelda. It's got all my time and attention right now.
Yeah.
What is Stardew Valley, and why should I care about it?
Okay, so the premise of the game is you start off kind of a drone office worker in a city.
Okay.
And then your grandfather dies and leaves you his farm.
This sounds horrible so far.
Oh, yeah. No, it sounds really silly. But it's really interesting because you go live on this farm in this little town, and you're basically playing this like mashup of Harvest Moon and Animal Crossing and Minecraft with like some other extra stuff in there. So the general premise is you're just like living your life, growing vegetables on a farm, making friends with these people that live in this small town.
Okay.
Which
that sounds very Harvest Moon-ish
it
so
is,
far.
Yeah. But there's so many really fun little quests built in that the way it works is you save at the end of the day when you go to bed every night.
Okay.
But as soon as you save, you kind of wake up the next day and you're like, oh man, I really have to finish growing those pumpkins so I can get this one achievement that'll unlock this one thing I want to do. So you'll just keep going for hours and hours and hours.
Oh no, not one of those.
Yeah, and it's like super fun and quirky. There's this wizard that lives in a tower. There's this mine area that's basically like your classic dungeon crawler. You're fighting monsters.
Right.
So there's a little bit of everything. Like when I play, I'll spend a few days really focused on growing stuff on my farm, and then I'll be like, kind of like you were talking about with Breath of the Wild. I'll get tired of doing that, and then I'll go spend a few days upping my fishing skill.
Okay.
Or like trying to court somebody in town. You can get married. That's pretty fun.
Oh, you're trying to court people. Okay, so what is the graphical style of this game? Is it like a top-down 8-bit style, or is it like a more current,
it's
3D?
Yeah. It's 3D for sure.
Okay.
It is kind of 8-bit though. It's very cute, I would say.
It's a very cute game.
It is very cute.
Very cute game. What, have you beaten this game? Is
I
there a
don't
way
know
to
that
beat
there's
it?
a way to beat it.
So it just goes on.
So it just keeps going. So the one thing, and this isn't really a spoiler because it happens very early in the game. If you don't want a very early spoiler, close your ears. But you do get a letter, or there's something engraved somewhere or something like that indicates your grandfather might come back from the dead after 3 years.
What?
So I like, my goal is to at least play to 3 years and figure out what the heck is going on with that.
3 years of real time or 3 years of like game time?
3 years of game time.
Which
so
is
I'm
like what?
I'm like a year and a half through the game, and I've played maybe 45 hours.
Wow.
So you have to really like push through to get there. But
wow. So it becomes a zombie game at some point in the future, possibly.
I don't know.
Zombie apocalypse. Okay. What are people saying in the chat right now? The goddess Hylia says you must devote all your time to Breath of the Wild. I am listening to the goddess and doing that. Pretty much any time that I'm not busy, I'm playing Zelda.
You're playing Zelda.
Which is crazy though, because a lot of times when I'm not busy, it's late at night. So it's like it'll be like 11 p.m. It's like, all right, I could go to bed. Or I could play Zelda for an hour and a half or 2 hours.
And what do you normally do?
I usually end up turning on Zelda.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. So what do we got? Last God game I played was Metro Last Light. Oh, I've never played that one. I've heard of that. I can't play. You can't seduce married people, though. Claire, can you seduce married people?
You cannot. Not in
Why
the
not?
game. Because there are set characters who are single, and there are characters that are already like paired off. So the way it works is you kind of get friendship points and you build up your relationships with people. And there's a few kind of steps you have to go through to marry someone. You have to give them a bouquet at the right time and give them the right kind of gifts and stuff like that.
Wait a minute. Can you play as a male or female, or do you have to play as a male?
You can play as a male or female, and there are male and female characters, and you can marry whoever you would like to marry.
You can marry whoever you want.
You can marry whoever you want.
That's nice. That's a progressive game.
Definitely.
If you get married, can you continue courting other people?
You cannot. Actually, this happened to me. So I'm married in the game. I married the character Abby, who has like purple hair.
Okay.
And I gave a really nice gift to the other person who I want to be like my best friend in the game. And I came home and Abby was like, I saw you gave that other person a nice gift. Yeah.
What?
She was not happy about it. It's very true to life.
You're causing problems.
Apparently.
Causing problems in the world. You can't do that. Just like in the real world, you can't be doing that. Your excuse cannot be, listen, baby, I just want her to be my best friend.
Yeah.
I just want her to be my best friend. You're still my wife. I want her to be my best friend.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
It does not work, which is kind of upsetting because I really like this other character too. And you get like, as you like progress in your relationship, you unlock like cutscenes and like mini games that you can play with characters. And I have a feeling hers are really cool because she's like a robot builder. So.
Okay. Oh, that's nice.
We'll see.
Nice. Okay, what's what we got over here? How much is the new Xbox Scorpio console? They haven't announced a price yet.
Oh.
But
yeah,
if I had to guess, this is just me guessing. This is not inside information or anything. I don't see how they can price it at. I see how they can because it's going to be an expensive product to make. But I don't see how it can be successful if they price it above $500. I think $499 is the cap of where people can tolerate for buying a console. And $500 is what the Xbox One originally launched at. And a lot of people point to that as the reason why the PlayStation 4 was sold so much more than it, because that was $399. So $399 versus $499, everybody gravitated towards the cheaper console. Since the games are pretty much the same thing on both, I don't know that you can go back to. You can't go above $500. That's my opinion. I don't know. Let's talk about some other types of games, though.
Sure. Yeah.
So there's video games.
There is video games,
and then there's board games.
There is, and there's even role-playing games.
RPGs.
RPGs.
Wait, so okay, RPGs to me are like Final Fantasy or whatever. You're saying there's offline.
There's pen and paper RPGs
that don't need a board. Is that what you're saying?
You can make your own board.
You can make it. Okay, let's go do this. So Claire, we're at the GeekWire. What was it? The GeekWire Bash.
The GeekWire Bash.
We're at the GeekWire Bash, where actually I got bashed in the face with a dodgeball.
Yeah.
Guys, listen. I went down. Like I went into the dodgeball area, and like within like 5 seconds, a dodgeball hit me like right in the face. And then like when you get hit and like you don't want it to be a big deal. So I'm like I'm getting hit. I'm like, okay, I'm in horrible pain.
Uh-huh.
But I want to pretend I'm cool.
Yeah.
And then I just like go down. Like I was like I just collapsed.
Oh man.
And I'm like, okay, I wanted to just like walk away and like have no one see what happened. And now when you go down, like everybody's like, oh, what's going on? Like everybody's coming. I'm like, I'm okay.
Do we need a medic?
No, I'm like, I'm okay, but I really my eye was all messed up. But at the GeekWire Bash, you were managing. Were you managing? Would that be the right word?
I don't know if managing is.
You were overseeing.
Word. I was overseeing
a Catan tournament.
I was covering it for GeekWire. Settlers of Catan.
Settlers of Catan, which that would probably be the first for me, like non-Monopoly, like not. Like there's there's the lightweight mainstream casual board games,
exactly,
and then there's like the hardcore. We're gonna sit here for 4 hours, and someone is gonna win board games, right?
Yes.
And so when I first played that one, I was like, what is going on? And then like the more you play, you're like, this is amazing. What are all like the game of life is nothing compared to Settlers of Catan. So tell me about, if you're overseeing, then you must be a big fan
of
board
Catan.
Games.
I'm a big
board games in general.
Of board games in general, for sure. I'm not a huge Catan.
Is it Catan or Catan? Edwin Soto.
I say Catan, and last time I said Catan, you said I was snobby.
It sounds snobby. Catan sounds like vase.
Catan.
Like, is it a vase or a vase? They're probably both correct, but one of them sounds snootier than the other one.
Well, you can